Podcast Network.
Welcome to SportsWorld-USA. Every week, our hosts present a fun and informative dive into the world of sports memorabilia. Join radio legend Mikey Adams and the owner of the largest, most established sports memorabilia store in New England, Phil Castinetti, as they take you through the world of card collecting, collectible autographs, and all things sports memorabilia. You have questions? Phil has answers. You want to find an exclusive item? Phil will find it. You want to buy the items on display during the show? They will sell it to you. Get your bidding fingers ready. Here's Mikey and Phil.
Aha! And Corey. Corey's back from wherever you were. Where were you? You were surfing?
A little hiatus. Yeah, I'm back now, though.
We have done some epic broadcasts from this studio already in our limited life so far on this SportsWorld-USA.com broadcast. But this one's going to be the greatest of all. I just have a feeling about that. Because not only does Corey have a box of cards to open, which is one of the staples of our broadcast, Phil's brought some items in here for you to look at, but we have a special guest. Beyond special, maybe one of the most popular Red Sox players in the history of the storied franchise. He's coming to us live via Zoom from San Diego, California, number 19, the one and only Fred Lynn. Fred?
Hi, Mikey. How are you, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, big man?
You know what? We're semi-enjoying life here in San Diego, but we are really enjoying it a little bit more now because baseball has started. Very happy about that.
Thank goodness for that. And it's weird, Fred. It's got to be weird for you who, were cheered on by throngs of the Fenway faithful for so many years. The crowd is such a big part of baseball. But to watch these games where there are cardboard cutouts of all, that's crazy. What do you think of that?
I'm not sure what to make of the cardboard cutouts, but I was talking to some of my buddies yesterday. We were playing golf, and here's a thought. There are going to be some players that are going to perform much better without fans in their face. Baseball is very personal. The fans are very close to you, and you can hear everything they say to you. Now, some guys take that to heart. Say you're in Yankee Stadium and you're the enemy.
Yeah.
You're going to hear a barrage of things that you probably don't want to hear, and some guys will be affected by that. Now, with nobody there, it's like batting practice. Obviously, you're facing a major league pitcher, but all the distractions are gone for some of these hitters. So I think there are going to be some guys that really star that might not have otherwise if it had been a packed stadium.
Well, concentration being a big part of the game, you're right. But I was wondering, how do you think you would have fared in your day if this would have happened back then? Would you have done better?
No, I loved playing on the big stage. I love playing in front of a big throng of people, especially like going to Yankee Stadium where they could hold 55,000. There's nothing better for me personally than to hear 55,000 people go quiet when you make a great play.
Yeah.
Or conversely, if you're at home and you do something well and the fans go crazy, the team can feed off of that. The momentum. You see it happen all the time in Fenway Park, and I'm sure in Yankee Stadium too, where teams, they just get on a roll when the crowd starts getting involved, and everybody feels and feeds off that energy. So especially if you're down, you just feel crappy when you go into the ballpark, the fans can energize you. So it's going to be self-energizing for the players this year. There's no question about that.
I consider myself somewhat of a Fred Lynn expert. I know Phil knows you very well, and the fans of Boston love you. They still love you. When you're outside Fenway, I've seen you walking around, people just all over you because you're Fred Lynn. But I got to tell you what I know. February 3rd, 1952, right?
That's right.
That's your birthday. Came up to the Red Sox, 21-105, 331 your rookie year. You won the MVP. You won the Rookie of the Year. You won a Gold Glove. I think you won 3 Gold Gloves, didn't you, in center field for the Red Sox?
I won 4 with them.
4? Did I miss a Gold Glove? I'm an idiot. And then you had a batting title later on. You had, now, what happened in '79? All of a sudden, you erupted in this power. There was some conditioning thing you did. Was it a machine? Was it that got you a little more muscular, and you hit 39 home runs that year?
What I experienced in '78, watching Jimmy Rice play, he played every game, 163 to be exact.
Yeah.
And he's a big, strong guy, and he wouldn't get tired, not tired, but his production, home run production, wouldn't wane in the second half, whereas mine would. I'm not a big guy. I'm at my high school weight right now, about 172 pounds. So at the end of the season, I'm losing weight and consequently losing strength. So after '78, I hit 331 at the half at the break, and then I ended up hitting 300. Mm-hmm. So I wore out. And after the '78 season, I went back home to the LA area, and I had some friends that were at the University of Southern California, and they started a rehab clinic. And they had Nautilus weight training machines at their clinic. So he invited me to come over, and I experimented with these machines. And basically, I would call it a businessman's workout. You just go from machine to machine to machine. And I didn't do any free weights or anything like that. But I started moving weight for the first time in my life because we never did it before. And I came back to spring training, and people were looking at me kind of funny because I was bigger. And I obviously didn't see it myself, but when I first started taking batting practice, I noticed that I didn't have to hit the ball on the screws to hit it over the fence. Earlier in my career, if I didn't hit it just right and didn't pull it, it wasn't a home run. And now, then I should say, I could hit a ball and say that I hit it very well, and it was going over the fence. For the first time in my life, I had power to all fields. I could hit them out to center, left center. I could hit them out of everywhere. And it was very unique for me to have that kind of power. I'd never experienced it. I've hit home runs before in bunches, but I always pulled them. But now I didn't have to do that. So that made me really, really dangerous.
Phil, a lot of people, when Fred Lynn comes to town, they want his autograph. Is this a guy or what? A lot of people say this too. If he'd only stayed on the Red Sox, how do you feel about that, Freddie?
Yeah, there's some truth to that. I'm a pretty loyal guy, but it has to be a two-way street. And the ownership at that time, well, let's just say they were frugal.
They were stupid. They were stupid. Can I say it? They were stupid.
Well, there was a lot of changes going on in baseball then. Free agency was just coming into play in 1976. And Carlton Fisk, Rick Burleson, and myself, we went into the '76 season unsigned. So our necks were way out. And we were banking on they're going to be free agency at the end of that year. And it did happen. So we all signed 5-year deals, which led us to 1980. And at the end of our contracts, the owners at that time decided to get rid of us. There was not monetary, there was personal reasons, and I don't need to get into it, but it was personal, not money. And so they found some creative ways to get rid of all three of us, basically.
That team was so good. Phil, that '78 team, they went into '79, but they had a clearinghouse sale. Fisk.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy back then. They were fighting, the owners with everything going on, and, they messed up. I'm not a Red Sox fan, but they messed up.
I know. You're spoken like a true Yankee fan, I think.
Well, look at the guys that we had, okay? My 6 years with the Sox, we averaged like 94, 95 wins a year.
Yeah.
Now, that gets you into the playoff every year. Every year.
Sure.
We had to go against the Yankees, but we had to go against Baltimore as well. I mean, they were a great club in the '70s.
Absolutely.
And only one team would represent the division. So there were 2 years consecutive where we won 99 games, didn't make the playoffs. 97 games, didn't make the playoffs. So these are good teams that we played on. It was just unfortunate all the really good teams were in one division.
Yeah, your record with the Red Sox, you had 308 as a career average for the Red Sox. But what a lot of people used to be amazed at was if they pitched you the outside part of the plate, you'd rake it to left field off the wall. You had 47 doubles your rookie year, which is a remarkable number for anybody in any season. So you were able to hit, but I think what I always think of when I think of you is being able to track down any fly ball anywhere in the ballpark that was in your domain in center field. You seemed like you took one look at where it was headed, then you turned around and ran to that spot and perfectly turned around, and that's where the ball seemed to appear. You had a real graceful ability to go get them out there in the outfield.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, and you're exactly right, Mikey. That's a good observation. Phil would have never caught that.
Thanks, pal.
But that didn't come just by happenstance. I did play other sports. I played football and I played basketball. So I learned footwork, especially in those two sports. Basketball, you got to be able to go backwards and forwards, sideways. And football, I was a defensive back. So I could run backwards just as fast as forwards, and you got to turn on a dime and get to places, right? So I learned right away how to take a route. And then through repetition, getting balls off the bat, make sure you're in batting practice. You practice this stuff. I used to stand in the center field, and I'd only, ball would be hit, and I'd take 10 steps, and track. And then next pitch hit 10 step track. But I would get used to making my move and then going to a spot, like you said. And that's the key to getting to balls where other guys might not get to, is where it's going. You get to that spot as quickly as you can, you turn around and catch the ball. It does look easy when it's done properly, but
For
you watch some guys you watch some guys take some curious routes to the ball sometimes.
Yeah, right.
They look like, whoa, where are they going? And that's just not taking enough balls off the bat.
The pitchers had to love you and Dwight Evans for being able to be so good in your respective outfield positions. I'm thinking a lot of outs in those gloves of yours. My best man in my wedding was the spaceman, Bill Lee, and he probably loved you just for saving him an ERA. I mean, the way you guys could go get him out there,
Well, one of my better catches, Bill Lee was pitching. And it was on This Week in Baseball. In fact, it's always on the Twib Notes. Every week they would show this catch. It was the game of the week. We're playing Minnesota, and Danny Ford hit a ball in old Metropolitan Stadium, the outdoor stadium.
Yeah.
And it was going over the fence, and I went over and I snagged it on the other side and brought it back. We won that game 4-3. And Billy, actually, I saved him another time, and Phil will remember this because it was against the Yankees. 75, I think it was July, first game of a doubleheader.
Oh, well, that 1-0 game?
Yep, the 1-0 game.
Oh, it was
exactly
huge
right.
catch.
Nettles hits a ball into the left center field gap, and I played Nettles to pull all the time. So, man, that was a long run for me, and I snow coned it, and Jimmy jumped over me. His knee misses my head by about a half an inch. But we won that game 1-0, and we shut them out the next game 4-0.
Can we hang up now?
That was the end of the Yankees for that year.
Oh, that's great. And that was a Shea Stadium game?
It was.
Yeah. I remember all that stuff vividly, and I'm sure Bill Lee does. And even though he probably smoked a fatty after that game, he's probably those are things he remembers. I mean, I ask him sometimes, and this guy was up. He knows who was up in every situation, and a lot of ball players have that kind of photographic memory.
See, I never smoked pot, so that's why I can't remember anything. You guys are good.
Well, you know what? That's the way we were. That's how we were brought up. To be honest with you. This is the world's best computer right here. When guys watch film and do all these things that they do today to prepare for a game, I knew how guys got me out.
Yeah.
I didn't have to look at a film to know how, if I'm facing, say, Roger Clemens, and he's getting me out, he's wearing me out. I know how he's doing it. It's up to me to make an adjustment, right? I don't need to see it on video, how his ball moves. That's why you sit in the dugout and you watch before you hit. That's why when you're on deck, you watch the pitcher. You see how the ball's moving that particular day. This is the world's best computer.
Well, but you know what happens, Fred? My world's best computer crashes a lot. That's the problem with me. I get a lot of crashes. But here's where I'm strong, okay? It's the 1975 Red Sox. Can we get a shot of this, Ben?
Got it.
Now, Freddie, I'm going to see how we do on this because I claim to know every single one of these players just by sight. Ready?
Great.
Let's go to the back row. Rick Miller, Dick Drago, Louis Tiant, Rick Wise, Spaceman, Jim Burton, Rogelio Moret, who, by the way, Bill Lee says when he pitches, he looks like a spider climbing out of a suitcase. Rogelio Moret. This is Dick Pole. This is Reggie Cleveland. No, down here, Doug Griffin, Bob Heiss, Denny Doyle, Tim Blackwell, Cecil Cooper, Monty, Dwight Evans, Beniquez, Carbo, Diego Segui. I love this 75 team. Jim Ed Rice, Fisk, and Rico, Johnny Pesky. Who's that bullpen coach? Is that Rex Slider? No, that's not Rex. Who is that guy right there? That's the one I don't know. Daryl
Don Bryant.
Who's that?
It's Don Bear Bryant.
Oh.
He was our bench coach. He was Daryl Johnson's right-hand man.
There you go. And he's sitting right on the right-hand side of Daryl Johnson. Stan Williams, who was gigantic. Don Zimmer, who was a gerbil. And then you got Yaz and Rick Burleson. And here's Fred Lynn, number 19, Rookie of the Year, MVP, right over here. And I don't know the Bat Boys. Did I do all right on that?
Done.
Not too
That's
bad.
great. That's great.
I'm telling you, this is what this hangs in my office. I love the 75 team, maybe more than any team ever. How about you? What's your favorite Yankee team, Phil?
You know what?
Don't say 77 or 78. I hate those guys.
I wasn't a Reggie Jackson fan, so I wouldn't say that. But you know what? When I was real little, which got me started as a Yankee fan, 63, 64, and I was 6, 7 years old with watching Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris and Tommy Tresh, and running home from school and watching the World Series in the afternoon, and that's how I got hooked and being a Yankee fan. So I kind of gravitate to that that team, the Phil Linns and the Elston Howard, Cleat Boyer. Those were my guys.
Yeah, that's the old Yankees.
Yep.
Back when they were actually good on their own merits.
Yeah.
without the free agency stuff.
Oh, it's horrible now.
Fred, do you think now, back in this day here, we're talking about 75, and before that, you did get a sense of a team. We all knew who was on the Tigers, Norm Cash and Willie Horton and Al Kaline. We all knew the Orioles of Frank and Brooks, and Earl Weaver. But is it all different now where guys flip-flop teams too often for the loyalty to remain as strong as it used to be?
Well, you just look at the Mookie Betts situation. I really thought he was going to be a Red Sox forever, and now he's out with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I identify with what you guys are saying because I grew up in the same era, and I was a Giant fan, so I knew all the guys. And as a kid, you pretended to be all those guys all the time because they were on the teams. They had no way to move to another team unless they were traded. So that's what happened. Players finally got some rights where they had an opportunity to make a couple dollars because all those guys you mentioned, they didn't make much money.
Right.
They had fun playing. And the fans loved them because every day it was the same group of guys. And a very identifiable with a whole group of fan base.
Sure.
So that they made nothing. So now the players have an opportunity, and actually it started in 76. They have an opportunity to make a few dollars and take care of their families. Back then, guys had second jobs, a lot of them. Not Yankees because they always won, but other teams that weren't as fortunate as, say, New York, a lot of guys had to have an off-season job because they didn't make enough money during the season.
That 75 team, just for a moment here, if you'll indulge me on this, I swear to God they should have won the World Series, and you probably feel the same way. Here's what happened. Two things happened. That stupid Ed Armbruster bunt, which is just to this day kills me. And the other thing is Vern Rule hits Jimmy Rice, breaks his arm. Against the Cincinnati Reds, they had so many lefties coming at you, and if Rice had played, the Red Sox would have reversed the curse in 75 thanks to you and the Gold Dust Twins.
I agree 100%. We took him to the limit without Jimmy.
Yeah.
Had we had Jimmy in our lineup, it changes the dynamic of our lineup because he'd be right in the middle especially against Donnie Gullett.
Yep.
And they wouldn't be able, and then Captain Hook or Sparky Anderson wouldn't be able to bring in those lefties as quickly to face Yaz and myself. It would have been a big difference because look at the guys that replaced Jimmy. They didn't fare very well. in the series. I mean, we did great without him, but if we have Jimmy, I believe we beat him in 6.
I agree with that 100%. There's no way around it. Those left-handed guys, and Cecil Cooper didn't have a good series because he had to face the lefties because Jim Ed Rice was not there. Wait, what is all that memorabilia behind you? We got the king of memorabilia for New England right here in Phil Castinetti. What's all the stuff behind you, and do you want to sell any of it?
Yeah, I'm sure Phil's drooling over there because he's never been into this room, and this is just a small.
How do you know?
Of it, but... Well,
because nothing's missing.
Stuff is from when I was a kid. My first trophy in Little League, and a lot of stuff from high school. Even when I was at the University of Southern California, there's a lot of stuff from there. The room now is dominated by golf. My post-career, I played a lot of charity events, been on some good teams, and have a lot of hardware from golf. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here that was given to me by fans. I'm not a collector. Most of the awards, obviously, I've won. But prior to all the other things that are up in this room are pictures, and these were given to me by fans. There's some pretty cool things in here that Phil's never seen, and he's never gonna see.
That's good thinking. Well, Phil's got something here with your audience. A couple of things with your audience. Hold those up, Phil. These are the kind of things you get at Sports World in Saugus on Route 1 South. Is it 87? What's it called?
87 Broadway.
There it is.
So that's a picture we did, I don't know, Freddie, 5 or 6 years ago out of Sports Illustrated. We blew it up, and Freddie signed a limited edition of them, and that's got all the rookie stats, and it's pretty nice.
I'll say this on behalf of Phil. I love going into his place because I see stuff that I've never seen before. And as somebody who's a fan of the game, and all sports actually, he has so many things in there that are so cool that you won't get to see anywhere else. So it's quite a place, and I enjoy going there. I enjoy all the things that are in there because it makes me feel like going back in time sometimes. And now let me tell you a story real quick about Yankees and the teams that Phil liked.
Uh-oh.
When I was none of this is good for you, Phil. Maybe. When I was 16 years old, I played on a team that was sponsored by the New York Yankees called the Pasadena Yankees. We played right next to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, Brookside Park. It was a gigantic stadium. Anyway, we wore old hand-me-down Yankee uniforms, and I had Moose Skowron's uniform.
Oh.
It had his name stitched in the back of the jersey, Skowron. And I'm just 16 years old. I weighed about 150 pounds. And, Moose, they call him Moose because he was big. So when I used to pitch, the wind would hit my jersey and I looked like a spinnaker sail. But I didn't keep it, Phil.
That's too bad. That's a great jersey.
Well, we're glad you never got the crew cut that Moose Skowron used to have, too. Now, he was on the, he was on the Dodgers, Yankees, and Washington Senators or something?
Yeah, he bounced around a little
White
bit.
Sox, too, I think. Moose Skowron. Hey, Corey's opening packs of cards. I have a signed, this kind of makes me sad. It's Gary Carter. Hall of Famer. This is a very valuable card.
Yeah.
I don't have any pockets. Can you hold that for me? But when players pass away like that, their autograph value automatically goes up, doesn't it?
And it's limited. It's numbered on the back. I just saw. There's only 49 of these that were made.
Wow,
so that's a pretty good pluck. And
he was, I tell Freddie, I tell Spaceman all the time. I said the only reason you made the Red Sox Hall of Fame, Spaceman, is because you had two regular Hall of Fame catchers, Carlton Fisk and Gary Carter, throwing down the numbers for you. But he thinks that's ridiculous, and that was lucky to have two Hall of Fame catchers in any pitcher's career. Am I right?
Billy was a competitor. He was a little bit goofy off the field, but once he got on the field, he was all business. I loved playing behind him because he got the ball and threw it. He pitched to contact, which means he wanted him to hit it on the ground, get him out. One pitch went out. Love the guy. We played a game in Minnesota, another one up there, 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Wow.
It's great. It's unheard of today. But Billy was the ultimate competitor. Don't be confused by his off the field antics.
So, Freddie, I talked to him a couple days ago, and he just said that this is the first year he hasn't played baseball since he was a little kid because of everything going on.
Yeah. Well, he is 73.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
he said his last game he pitched, he won the championship in that league out in California or something he was playing in.
Yeah, his fastball has dropped from 81 to 69, but he still gets it over the plate though. Well, Fred Lynn, I got to tell you, it's great to talk to you. I haven't seen you since I think Louis Tillant's premiere of Lost Son of Havana, but I got to say that you're always gracious to everybody you meet. I've seen you around Fenway Park, and you know signing autographs for people. You're a good guy, and everybody here in Boston, obviously in New England, still love you, and we're looking forward to seeing you back in New England soon.
Well, thank you very much, Mikey. And Phil, good luck with Sports World. And Corey, good to see you again, buddy.
You too.
And yeah, good luck, you guys. I hope the fans start coming out as soon as possible because I'll be back to Fenway Park.
Sounds good.
In the guest suite, in the star
Yes,
suite.
sir.
Thank you, Fred. Take care.
Thank you, Freddie.
Have a good one, Freddie.
Okay, guys.
Stay
Thanks,
well.
guys.
The great Freddie Lynn. Now he's on the cover of that magazine. You got
Yep.
there. What year is that from?
Says it right there.
1976. So this was right after his rookie
Okay,
season.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, he's on the cover of a lot of magazines in 1976.
Yeah, he was something.
Now you have a couple of hockey. I know you got a signed Freddie Lynn ball.
Yeah, we sell those in the shop also.
How much are those if someone comes in the store?
They're $69.
$69. That's
Which is pretty cheap. He's got
very
a
good.
great autograph. I mean, considering these guys
It's
nowadays.
legible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The Fred Lynn ball and the Fred Lynn signed pictures.
And we have other stuff too, but
You know,
that's
when he
just a
comes
few.
back, can I have him sign this thing, this 1975 thing? Can you get
$20
that done?
bucks. You can get it.
Now tell me about these hockey items you brought
So I
in.
brought a couple. Nobody probably knows this yet, but the great Eddie Shack passed away this morning.
This morning.
Yeah, just this morning, and he was one of the greatest characters. He could have been like the Bill Lee of the NHL. I mean, he was just such a great guy.
He was a nut, huh?
He was nuts, but I mean, just a real, like Bill Lee, he was a good nut.
Yeah, the good kind of nut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he, like I told you before the show, he didn't read or write, but made a lot of money after his hockey career, and I always like seeing him every time.
Interesting story, though. A guy who can't, in this day and age, can't read or write, but he came from, some rural Canadian town.
He came from up in Sudbury, which is probably 4 hours north of Toronto.
Yeah.
Where my friend Jerry Topazzini, that played for the Bruins, was from also. And
Yeah.
that's a town he came from, and then moved to Toronto. And he was a Maple Leaf legend, that's for sure.
And this is a signed puck from Eddie?
Yeah, he had a donut shop at one time, and we did a promo thing with
Eddie
him.
Shack Donuts. Now, that's a collectible item right there.
Yeah, there's not many of those around.
You know why donuts had holes in them, by the way? Do you know why?
No.
Keep the crullers happy. Did I just say that on the air? I'm sorry. It came to my mind.
Yeah.
Now, your store is in Saugus. It's on Route 1 South, 87 Broadway.
Right.
That's the way to go and visit the actual museum and tour the place and see all the different stuff you have. But if someone has a question about the value of something they have or something they're trying to get, the number is 781
See it.
3222. No, go ahead. 781
You're close.
2
7222.
You want you just say it so I don't completely.
You go.
I'll give my home phone number at the end of this podcast, and Pete can call and tell me what an idiot I am. 781. I'll just check my phone. It's right on there. It's pre-programmed. Go ahead.
I'm not telling you.
No, come on. I'll look it up on my phone. Can I get that phone? I'll look it right up. I just go, Siri, call Phil Castinetti. Bing, and it happens.
Yeah.
It's 781-233-7222.
Yeah.
All those wild twos in there, and I still can't get it straight. Now, what did you get, Corey, in the pack over there, aside from this great Gary
You
Carter?
got a better card, too.
So this is a box from 2011, so it's an older box, and I got a Mike Trout rookie card.
Shut
Yeah.
up!
Big
which
time
which is
card,
the
yeah.
one, a rookie, not that same one, but one similar, just over $900,000.
Well, what's
It
that
was
one worth?
autographed. That one's
This one's not it's from the
not
same
signed.
year,
Oh,
but
it's not
not
signed.
the
Okay.
same
But
product.
this
though.
Gary Carter one's worth a lot.
yeah, that's probably $75 card.
Thank you. And that's the series where you can get an autographed Stan Musial card.
Yep.
And he's no longer with us,
Mhm.
so that card's got to be worth a lot. I have one of my favorite things I got from the Sports World memorabilia store, and Phil will tell you this.
I'll
is
throw that in the sleeve
is
for
a
you.
signed Stan Musial bat.
Yeah.
Now, people say, well, Stan Musial, he stopped playing in 1963. Yeah, but he was so effing great that I love the guy to this day. He was a quiet hero, played for the same team his whole career. I think he made 22 All-Star teams. He had 3,630 hits, 1,815 on the road, and 1,815 at home. Boy, he was steady. And I love Stan Musial. So that bat I got from you, Phil, is one of my top 5 favorite items of all time in my collection. And thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome.
I got a very good deal on it, and it's never going anywhere except in my collection until I die. Then I'll leave it to one of my sons.
Take it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this heaven? Yeah. Can I come in? Yeah. No. What do you mean, no? I got batting practice in 10 minutes. We've had a tremendous show.
Yeah.
Great to talk to Fred Lynn. As you said, he's a great guy.
Yes, he is.
Our thanks to Ben Kitchen, who's over here scratching his armpits. He does that all the time. Corey the card guy.
Sir.
Phil Castinetti, Mr. Memorabilia. I'm Mike Adams, broadcast legend, at least up here. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.